Tandem Nomads, episode 53. Hello, Nomad Nation. Welcome to Tandem Nomads, the weekly podcast show for expat partners where you can find great inspiration and tips to build your portable career and thrive in your global nomadic life. I am your host, Amel Deregi. This week is Gentlemen's Week, a best-of series of short extracts from previous episodes with male trading spouses, or as I prefer to say, male expat partners. I definitely hope to have more gentlemen in our show in the next season to have a more diverse perspective, but I have to say that I'm quite fascinated with those that we already have in the show and those who share their stories with us. Indeed, these four men come from very different culture and professional backgrounds and have a lot to say. Also, I have to admit that I was quite pleased and fascinated with the way they actually perceive their challenges as expat partners, but also their role as a expat partner that was very positive and pretty progressive. So I'm really looking forward to share these extracts with you, and we're going to start with the first one with Jeremy Piccoli. Jeremy is an international tax expert who works for the global mobility consulting company Air Inc. He managed to keep his job while joining his spouse for her job assignment in Switzerland.
More and more men are the trailing spouses, where I think maybe 10, 20, 30 years ago, it was traditionally considered a non-working wife going along, maybe probably bringing the family if they have one. And we're in year 2016 and family dynamics are changing. I had been involved with global mobility for about 8 years, but had never studied abroad or been an expat myself. So it really gave me an opportunity to apply my work life to moving us to a new country. I thought it would be well worth the opportunity to live in beautiful Switzerland and also support my wife's career. Luckily, my company is very experienced. They've been doing nothing but global mobility for over 60 years. So they kind of understand the needs of moving employees. And along with that, it means moving the family. So they've been incredibly generous, and I've been thankful for that. The great thing is that the majority of my day-to-day work can be done as long as I have an internet connection. Without that, I don't know that if we would have been able to make the move. So at the same time, I was a little nervous about the potential impact of the move. I'd be working remotely. I have been working here remotely in Basel. It has its own set of challenges. I think, the internet obviously makes it very easy to socialize with people. So I've been able to find some people to play some basketball with. My neighbors actually let me dog sit their dog during the day and take him for walks. So after those initial 2 weeks where I didn't know anyone, I've been able to build up a group of people and dogs that I see, and also meet with my wife's coworkers too. So after that initial shock of being here and not knowing anyone and being a little worried, it really hasn't been an issue since.
Jeremy wrote an interesting blog post about the resistance of certain expat spouses clubs to integrate men, and this is an issue that I heard at many occasions. And also I even discussed it with Clara Wiggins, the author of the Expat Partner Survival Guide, because she conducted her own very interesting series on male trailing spouses. You can check it out. I really highly recommend it on her website, expatpartnersurvival.com. However, Jeremy explains in details in the full version of this episode why he thinks that this is not such a big issue according to him. So it's quite interesting. If you're interested, I highly recommend you to listen to this episode number 42, but also the main purpose of the episode was to use his expertise as an expert in taxes, international taxes, and expat packages to bring us his guidance on how to plan our taxes and expat packages when taking a job assignment abroad. And this episode, I promise you, is full of important tips to know. So please make sure to check out this episode on tandemnomads.com/42. A lot of important information to know when you decide to go abroad and accept a job abroad. tandemnomads.com/42, number 4 and 2. And now you will hear Igor Koskar from the episode 19, who shares his experience as he decided to quit a great engineering position in a major German automotive company to join his wife wherever her job would take her. I have to say, this episode is one of my favorite ones, as you will see. Igor has such a positive energy and shares his emotions so openly. I just found it really, really touching.
Some people are very traditional, as you say. Like the male part should be the strong one. Come on, what's the deal? You can still be the strong one. If you find a decision together with your partner, you can still be a strong personality. Because of living abroad and getting to know other cultures, we enhanced or opened our mind. We were growing the last 3 years, and that's basically it. What makes me so happy about the decision we took. The decision was actually very easy. The decision was actually already established when we really got together, and this was the only thing I wanted to be together, sweet. Wherever it might be. I know it's too romantic. I really should skip this part.
No, it's important.
Because you're interested in the techniques, right?
No, I'm interested in the emotions too, and I think that's a big part of becoming an expat partner. Nobody would do it if it wasn't for love.
Yes, exactly. Then you face the risks. Many of them, and the biggest risk will turn into good things. It took me 7 months to get the job. I fell into this hole. At a certain point of time, I lost a little bit the hope because there was no reply from the company, and then I thought, what if this doesn't happen? What should I do? So I was worried for some weeks, but then you always, not always, but you might get into a difficult situation and you just don't have to lose hope. But I didn't give up. This made it happen that I got the job. There are always opportunities, especially you need the network. I just kept the contact with key people, I would say, key persons in my life at that time, which actually became friends now. And these conversations and support from others, also from my wife, especially from my wife. Look, what are your talents? What are your hobbies? And look for some other freaks doing the same, what you are doing. And you will immediately get connected.
I really recommend you to listen to the full episode with Igor, because he also shares a list of tips and of how he managed to find a job. It wasn't easy, but he did implement some great things, and he shares it with us. So please make sure to share it with anyone who's looking for a job, and an expat partner especially. So tandemnomads.com/19, number 1 and 9. In this extract and the following ones too, there's something that I noticed and I want to share with you is actually, and something that surprised me is that I found that practically all the men that I interviewed systematically mentioned that the main reason they followed their spouses was for love. Although the ladies I interviewed before and throughout the Tandem Nomads podcast do express the importance of their relationship with their partners, I have rarely heard a woman highlight her love for her spouse so openly. I even realized that for myself, that besides the introduction episode that I recorded for Tandem Nomads, I'm not sure that I have emphasized on that aspect myself when I speak of my experience as an expat partner. Although I have to admit, yes, the only one reason that I actually got to quit my job and leave the life I loved, it was the fact that I couldn't imagine continuing this life without Michael. So yeah, maybe a great lesson for us women to talk more about our feelings toward men. Quite surprising that I have to say that. Anyhow, I thought that was an interesting point that I wanted to share with you, and hopefully that will also get you to think about it. Now, placed to Manfred Kierginger, this episode number 35 is quite unique because it's actually the only one I managed to do with both expat partners. And they're actually great friends, and I'm really grateful to them that they shared their stories, and it's really a fascinating episode, this one, 35, really interesting, because they both decided to give up their jobs alternatively for one another. We'll hear Helen Reiter's story, his wife, in another best of series about relationships, the next one actually. But basically what you have to know is that Helen is the one who first gave up her job and her steady life to join Manfred in South Africa, and after a couple of years she wanted to go back home. So he accepted, after living 15 years in South Africa and having had a successful business there, to quit his business and to join her to Austria, their home country. So here we're going to focus on his testimonial and how he experienced that.
As it is with many relationships, when you know it's the right partner, you go through troubles. So I felt almost like I felt alienated going back home. We went to Tyrol, where Helen originally comes from, and where she got a very good job. And I was going from one interview to the next, and for me it was like almost a culture shock coming home again after 15 years. And so I really needed to take my time to acclimatize to people and society. And I think that was a much bigger issue. I can easily live with the fact that Helen brings in the money. I have no problem with that. And I did spend two winters as a ski instructor. I did my ski instructor license exam. And I did for 4 months in winter, I was a ski instructor. That really pulled me through the winter, I must say. And summers being beautiful in Austria, I did a lot of mountain biking and sports and travel, which was the savior for me. But it really wasn't easy. And then I went to many interviews, and I was accepted for various jobs. But it wasn't quite what I was looking for, and then the right job came along. So I needed to take this time to find the right job, wherever that was. Of course, together with Helen's blessing, but it took that long. It took 18 months or 2 years.
Wow.
We sort of pulled each other through difficult times. I mean, of course, a relationship needs a certain level of respect. What we've learned over the years, and what we both enjoy, is to look ahead. If times are tough, to plan, to look ahead, and to plan nice things. If it's now holidays or buying a house that one, or an apartment that one wants to have, or furniture or whatever, we always been planning things, and I think that helped us a lot.
I really enjoyed every bit of what Manfred and Helen shared about their experience in the full version of this episode and how they managed to go through the hardships that they went through. So I really encourage you to listen to this. It's really full of inspiration. It's the episode 35, and you can listen to it on tandemnomads.com/35, number 3 and 5. Last but not least, here is a glimpse on Olivier Caudron's interview in episode 5. Olivier is a life coach and has actually coached me when I arrived in New York, and this is how I got to meet him. He takes us through his journey, how he went from being an actor and theater director to a coach, and how he experienced his journey following his partner abroad.
I would like to say that it's love. I didn't want a long distance, relation. I wanted to go with him, and it was for me also an opportunity to let's try. Let's go to Italy. So I was quite confident. I was letting down some project of mine and some dreams, maybe. But it was for 1 year. But you never know. I mean, we said, let's go for 1 year. Then, so the risk was, at that time I was very involved in a theater company, and I was afraid to lose all my customers, clients. And then I realized that it was not true. When I came back, I just made a little bit of publicity, and people were there again. And then New York came. I don't want to say that I followed him. I made the decision. I said, let's go. It was not for me the right time again when we moved, because I was once again developing a professional activity. And it was, let's go to New York. So it was a risk to see, each time I have a job proposal for being a director or teacher, we move. So that helped me to say, I have to think my activity as a luggage. So I have to be able to move within the month, with what I have. And that helped me a lot, in fact. Don't rush about finding a job. Know before what you want. Sometimes it's just realizing that you are not from scratch. You have already a lot of tools in your luggage. It's like being in Alice in the Wonderland, so you don't realize the kind of cookies you have in your pocket. Spend time to define what you want.
Olivier shares some great practical tips for expat partners who go through career transition. So check out this episode on tandemnomads.com/5, the number 5. Nomad Nation, I hope that you enjoyed our gentlemen's input and their stories and the inspiration they shared with us as much as I did. So next week we will continue along the same line with some guests who shared great advice on how to keep a healthy relationship in the couple. So see you next week and stay tuned to turn the challenges of relocation into great opportunities for you and your world.